Hello, YouTube, Infinite Magicraid community. How's everyone doing? Uh, this is going to be a quick infographics guide, your ultimate guide to stamps and which heroes to best use with them. I know people like tier list, and sometimes people don't have time to stick around. So I'm going to give you all of the information in less than a minute, and then if you have the time to stick around, we can go into the details. So here, take a screenshot of all your legendary stamps. All right, then let's go over to our epics. These are the heroes you want to use with your epics. All right, and then hopefully you got the screenshot by now. And then let's go over to epics. Oh, sorry, go over to elites. And here's elite. So thank you so much for sticking around for 50 seconds. Want to make a couple of quick announcements. Very happy that I made it over 200 subs in maybe about 40 days as a content creator. Pretty happy for all the support getting from the community. Please help me get the word out there. I do a lot of guides and infographics and trying to help people with the game in the most efficient and concise manner. My goal is to help you, get the most out of, the resources you spent into the game and get as far as you can possible. And I live into those principles myself. Gandalf the White, if you ever see that account, it's been completely free to play for the last 4 months, ever since I've received that account as a gift. And on my main account, it's a really low spender account and pretty much still probably under the $500 mark right now on that. So yeah, I do try to help majority of the player out, especially the free to play is out there, how to make the most out of the resource you have available to you. If you have any suggestions for a celebration, what kind of content you guys would like to see, please leave me a comment below. And hopefully once I get to, a higher tier level status as a content creator, I should be able to start doing some gym giveaways. So I'll be looking forward to doing that with you guys and doing a little bit more interactive stuff, maybe live streams and stuff like that on Discord. So that's the announcement part. Let's go into some of the details about, each of these stamps and which heroes you kind of want to go with them. In my mind, I think the they have done a good job with the elite stamp because they're pretty generic and they can be used on a wide range of heroes. First off, you have your crit damage up, fully leveled up. That's like 30% crit damage on turn one, which is a huge amount at base, right? So any nukers you want to use with them that benefit from it, like you can even use Margarita over here. This will be a great option. Um, if you're going for a turn one nuke or skill-based nuke, I actually find the increasing your skill damage by 12% is a bigger bet. It's just marginally slightly better than the crit damage because crit damage you lose it after first turn. This, I mean, you gain on your skill consistently. So I find on the nukers where you're using basically your ultimate consecutively or to do a nuke, this actually works really well. It gives you 12% extra damage and it doesn't have as much diminishing return as critical damage here for your direct damage dealers. Um, for a lot of your support heroes or your tanks, starting off with additional, I think this goes up to maybe 12% or 16% or so. I have to double check. But you start off with additional defense for 4 turns, which is really helpful. It's like you can stick this on pretty much any of your heroes. I don't think it stacks though, so just make sure you put it on only one of your supporting heroes. The one over here, it's not as great because there aren't that many heroes in the game that purely benefit from basic attack. Even Lucifer, like, you still don't want to lose the skill damage, but I mean, if you're using the Ben Austin and Ristler combination, you're doing most of your damage through basic attack. So getting a 12% increase in your base attack minus 20 on your skill damage probably might still be worth it, but the main one is really use it um, on your um, on your Mac in here. Sorry, had a little mind blank here. This one is an interesting one. This one, it's not really the resistance you're looking for. It's really how quickly you can get 4 turns in and getting that attack buff because that's on your entire attack, not on your base. So Catherine, Wim, where they can take double turns, or even Panda at E3, even though you probably don't see Panda as often in PvE as Catherine. You can quickly get that buff up and then benefiting your entire team with additional, I think, 8 or 10% maximum. attack up, which is pretty significant. Then you got the start the turn with 20% less attack but higher defense. So pure tanks like French, Alec, or Hal, and heroes like that will be really beneficial to bring something like that. So it's pretty generic, right? This is great design where it helps most of your heroes out. This one is when you do direct damage to targets with debuff, you do additional damage, and when it's slow down, it does even more. So you start with additional little bit of crit on the main stat, so perfect for Jilliman. Things like Allcaster, you're doing direct damage, but you're dishing out a ton of debuffs, or you can benefit by putting a direct damage dealer with a teammate that does the slowdown or the debuffs. That all works too. Finally, we have the worst, but still generic enough is this one. You basically, it's sort of like a spike shield. When the enemy hits you, you have, a chance to put a bleed back on them. Probably most useful with your bleeders, getting a little bit effective, but for the most part, this is the least useful of all of them. But when you start looking at the epics and legendary, you actually don't have a lot of good option for bleeds until you get to legendary. So for the time being, maybe this is actually a decent option for your bleeder, just getting that one extra bleed stack in there, right? Okay, on to the epic. So this is where we start to see a lot of very unique and hero-specific mechanics that are involved. I mean, you can always still use these for the base stats that they provide, but honestly, I feel like the base stat they provide, if you only have one copy, you might be better off with the additional mechanic benefit from the elites there. So off the top, this is a hero that benefits a lot from being under stealth. So Ariel is a great example because she's always under stealth a lot of the time. But Lucifer is actually the biggest benefit factor or beneficiary of this particular stamp because you're boosting a lot of damage, and Lucifer is almost always under stealth for direct damage. So try to get this for Lucifer, and you can upgrade it from here. This will be only a minor benefit for Lucifer overall, and it's only a unique situation where he's mostly doing auto attacks or the joint pursue auto attacks. That's when you want to use this. Otherwise, don't put this on Lucifer. Um, this is the main one that's really helpful for Lucifer. Okay, this one, it's really confusing, the wording. I wrote to the devs about this one already. Um, really, this only works for your strip damage dealer. So you have to strip and do damage on the same turn. So Jilliman, Gerda is great. You could potentially use Machello here for the skill 3, but I don't think his main damage from Machello is not his skill 3. So, I think these would be two great heroes. Um, things like, Nut, Nut, uh, Nutskarma, Slackdo, they all strip, but the multiplier is too low. So really, you're looking at these two for the main ones where you strip and doing a high amount of damage. Um, these two stamps here are great for direct damage dealers, as long as you don't get debuffed. Um, you know, you can build up quite a bit of beneficial stats for direct damage dealers. So I'll leave you to use these two. So I'll say these two are actually the more generic ones out of the bunch here, which is really great to have if you ever pull any of these. This one is an interesting one. The mechanics, after it's again, all of these are really long essays by now. The game seems to really like to write long descriptions. Sometimes they're not the best translated descriptions either. So this one is basically if you use a self-boosting skill of some sort, which doesn't do damage, then follow up on the same turn. So if a hero can go twice, this is perfect for it, and you'll get the full benefit, all 6 stats of Swords Out. So things like Yoko, where she, changes form, then attacks, gets a massive buff from that. Ikina going from changing form and then doing the big ultimate, that's great. Even things like, Sylvie, Mutu, where they, do a self-boosting attack up and then attacking the subsequent turn, like they fully benefit from this stamp. So you could put it on Sylvie and Mutu, but Mutu and Sylvie do have better options in stamps as well. So I left them in the other place. This one's really for parry. There's no other hero that will benefit from crit damage boost from doing detonation except berries, so hopefully this makes berries a little bit more relevant. This one does poison damage to yourself and then give your entire team poison damage. So first of all, you kind of have to be immune to poison. So um, Walter, Nita, perfect setup, right, for that to give your entire team poison boost. This one is the one that, if you protect allies, so Guru is the perfect one. Hal and Ebek can only do the whole protect ally every other few turns, and then you boost your overall HP for it. I mean, Ebek definitely benefit a lot from HP up, so these two are the main heroes that go with the stamp. Then this one is if you can give yourself a shield, you can get a lot of attack up and piercing. So Serena is actually the key one because Serena can give herself a shield. Now Agatha gives herself a shield and Nordak as well. So if you're building, if you're purely using Nordak as a damage dealer, and maybe ban his skill 4, which is kind of weird why you want to do that because it's a really good skill. You can get additional attack and um, piercing. Attack and piercing is really helpful for doing higher direct damage dealer. Doing damage, if you haven't, please go check out the game mechanic video I have done on the direct damage formula so you can understand why even attack will benefit defense or HP scaling direct damage dealers. Here is just damage reflection. This is the only hero in game that actually benefits from it, so it's kind of very niche. This one is, the blend of HP burn with burn, so that's your gunner and oh shoot, my mind's drawing a blank. Oakman. So these two heroes are the ones that really benefit from this burn and HP burn combination. This is specifically Chardonnay. You don't have any other heroes in the game right now that have high. That's a defense scaling bleeder, so this is the only one that will benefit. This is now really designed for Tuck. It's like you get additional HP when you're freezing your allies and you're healing them. So this is really just, benefiting Tuck quite a bit. Not a lot of hero will benefit from effective res and effect hit at the same time. Zara is a special one where she has very high effective res to be immune to CC, but still require high effect hit to get her CC to land. So this is the perfect setup. Ascendo is one that will AoE silence. Not, I think she's the only. The other one's Vero. I didn't put Vero here because Vero is still really bad. So you wouldn't want to, if you have multiple copies, just keep, you know, putting more star in it and put it on Ascendo. Don't give it to Vero. Vero's just still really bad. Here is when you do taunt to yourself, you get more HP. So Mamook is perfect. French is the second best option. Here you got, now you have to give yourself an attack up attribute boost. So, and it's more of a direct damage dealing kind of one. So, Lydia on scale 2 and Mutu on scale 2 are both great examples that will benefit these heroes. Here's an interesting one. This is where if you can smash through shields, you get 12% attack up for 3 turns, which is a huge buff, right? So that's why we even put Andreas here, because Andreas here in PvP, like you can start with skill 2. Most people have a Nordak nowadays. Boom, hit right through the shield. You get 12% attack up over on your overall attack, which is a huge amount. Michello, you can use skill 1 first and get that buff, and then use your skill 2 or something. That, you know, it gets tricky in terms of how that works in an auto situation, but nonetheless it's viable. You got Frey, who consistently do a huge amount of damage through shields, so Frey will benefit. Terror is someone who's also designed to hit directly through shields. So yeah, so these are shield penetrating heroes that would really benefit from this particular stamp. Then this is one where maybe we'll see that finally this will make Igor, our Super Saiyan here, strong, right? Igor never needed any crit stats because when he's in the out mode, he does crit damage 100% of the time. So, giving up, taking minus 100% crit rate. Same with Sylvie. The skills, the second part of her auto attack is 100% crit. So both heroes can technically go without crit rate. So this will be getting a huge amount of crit damage to these two heroes. Finally, this one is really for, you have to be in the hidden waves to benefit from it, and its defense and basic attack. So this is specifically for Seawall. So yeah, you can see here you got, a couple of heroes that are very specific. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're really niche to one hero. And maybe, I'll count these as very niche as well. So, but most of these heroes you have, multiple options for. Like, for example, here you can have four. Um, this one, you know, they're getting nicher and nicher, right? So finally, let's go into legendary. And we got three that are super niche, and I ranked them really low from a tiering perspective. Come on, like literally, you have one hero that benefits, and it's a legendary. Like, God, it's so frustrating. Like, I pulled this one, I don't have a author or ether on my account, and then you can see it's gray, and it's so frustrating, right? Like, you pull a legendary stamp, and you can't use it because it literally is unusable any other hero. Like a blue like we see epics, for example. Sorry, whoops, that's from the other. If I see this will work on Ikina better than this one, right? And I have there's really literally, other than her, there's no real good option for it. And same one with this. Like, I originally thought, hey, could this potentially work on the likes of Taff. But Taff doesn't really benefit much from effect healing or shielding because Taff doesn't really do a shield. So this is really just a Teru one. So yeah, it's kind of frustrating if you ever pull any of these three. Hopefully they, fix these situations or release more heroes that can benefit from these two, right? That would be nice. Here is a very niche situation where you kind of cleanse all yourself, and for debuffs and buffs you're removing, you're getting a huge damage boost for your dot damage and your direct damage dealer. So, and you can do up to three. So it's kind of, we'll have to see. Like, I feel like this is one where you kind of need max stars to kind of really benefit. Maybe it's good. I think this works well in something like in a perma freeze team. So you want to use this in a perma freeze team and then put this on your direct damage dealer because then it's going to clear itself from any previously frozen status while fighting another team that's perma frozen. So this is good for anti perma freeze. Um, so hopefully, by sticking around, you actually know what I'm talking about. This niche situation is really referring to, on, heavy CC PvP situation, um, when you want to use this particular hero. Um, so here, let's talk about the remaining ones. This one's really for your healer. So both Maya and Elsa do lose a lot of HP when they're healing AoE, so this is really beneficial and scale with it. This is a HP burn where you're doing damage to yourself, so it scales well with these two, but it's definitely not as good as this one. Like, this one is truly your HP burn DPS. Whenever you're doing HP burn, you're doing some additional you know HP burn damage on it directly. The multiplier on this, I still I think if you compute the numbers, I think the HP burn, the additional HP burn whenever you apply a dot is gonna be greater than this one. Um, though what I like about this is probably really strong in PvP. These are more PvP. Yeah, because you're doing the damage directly through, right? You don't rely on the effective hit aspect of things as much because you're losing your own HP to do that damage. This is for your bleeder, so the more bleed stack you can do, the better. Um, the caution here is don't use this on Lucia because Lucia does use crit rate as a component of her kit, but most of your other bleeders will be fine here. And you do need to apply a lot of bleed stack. So things like Elena doesn't actually apply a lot of bleeds, I don't think. Um, or at least, the Spirit Blades don't count as applying bleeds. So, Nidroid is probably your best pick here. Here then is very interesting because you need to do three different things. Beginning of the wave, you get one stack. Doing detonation, you do two stack. But the third stack, if you want to get it, you need to do some sort of attribute buff. So the speed up from O'Grady's, now I didn't test this because obviously I don't have this legendary one. But if you do know, please leave a comment below and help the community out. I believe the speed up from the wind shelter counts as attribute buff. So O'Grady's is the other hero that can get all three. Um, Jack can't do any, stab boosting one. So basically, Anna is your other one, and this does look like a picture of Anna. So this is kind of for Anna. The top one is any poison DPS. Malad is a great one because she can spam her skill too, so this is always up. But most of your active skill heroes where you can actually target, so this is great. So yeah, so this is basically wrapping up the video, under 20 minutes. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Leave likes and comments below, and if you have any suggestions for cool events that we can do as a community together, please write something below in the comments for me. Thanks for listening. Take care.